Welcome to Process to Profitability, a podcast all about the tools and strategies you need to serve your clients and grow your small business, hosted by me, Samantha Mabe of Lemon and the Sea. Join me as I chat with creative entrepreneurs and small business owners about how they built and grew their businesses and how you can do the same in a way that fits you. Let's get started. You're listening to episode 96 of Process to Profitability. Today I'm talking about what's included with your website design when you work with Lemon and the Sea. One of the most frequently asked questions I get as a designer is this thing included with your quote? So today I'm taking some time to lay out what I include with every website design and to talk about why it's important to ask these types of questions when you choose a website designer for your project. I want to start with talking about why it's important to know what's included when you work with a website designer. I recently had an episode talking about why I am not a certain service professional. I don't design logos. I don't help you with SEO, writing all of your keywords, but I do help with a lot of things as a website designer. So as you're getting started with a project or considering working with somebody, it's important to ask these types of questions to know what your designer is going to help you with and what you're going to be expected to do on your own or have ready to submit for them. One of the biggest things that I get as a designer has to do with images and mock-ups. So it's important to know if your designer is going to help you find images for your design or not, if you need those to already pulled together. Maybe they go through all of their images for you and allow you to use them, or they do the searches for you. But maybe you need to have your own images ready to go. Maybe they offer mock-ups so you can see what the design is going to look like ahead of time, or maybe they give you one option and that's what you're going to go with. So it depends on the designer and the way that you want to work, but it's important to get to know how these types of things work so that you can plan out how much time you need to spend. I mentioned in that episode that I don't write copy for a website, so I do not write the content of your website for you. You can work with a copywriter or you can do it yourself, but that is not my job because that's not my strength. What I do offer in that particular case are guides and outlines to help you really get to the heart of what you want to include on your website. So I can't tell you the words to say, but I can give you kind of an outline of this is what this page needs, and maybe you need a paragraph here and a headline here. So this is how you can set things up. For some people, they want to be really hands-on in the design process. So they want to be the one that's going to be doing all of this kind of stuff. And all they want from a designer is to just put it together and make it look good. But other people want to be able to hand it off to a designer and trust that everything is going to come together with as little work from them as possible. What you need to do as a potential client is to figure out what type of project you want. Do you want to be really hands-on and have the time to do that? Or do you want to hire somebody who's going to take care of this all for you and take it off your plate and just come back to you at the major stepping points along the way so that you can check in and make sure that everything is moving along the way that you expected? Either of those is totally fine, but it does mean that you might find a different designer is a better fit for you. So I'm going to talk about what I include for my website strategy clients. So I have a process called the Strategic Website Design Roadmap, and it's a 4 to 5 month process depending on whether or not we're including e-commerce. And for this, I include a lot of stuff in that price because I really want to help these clients get everything that they can out of their design. And as a website designer, I am the one that's best able to get all of this into place. So I include a ton of stuff for this. This includes resizing images. So I don't go out and find images for my clients. I'm not searching around on stock image sites or purchasing images for them. But if they send them to me, I will help resize them so they fit on the screens and so that they're not too slow in loading. Because I am the designer who works with Squarespace and Showit. I know kind of what sizes and resolutions those need to be in order to make the website load as quickly as possible and still look really good. And instead of having my client do that, it's usually a lot faster for me to do it myself, and I have the programs that allow me to do that. So I don't find images, but I help to resize them and get them to show up the best way possible on your screen. I also help with SEO descriptions. So I am not the one that's going to be choosing your keywords for you, and I don't do a lot with SEO strategy, but I will take the keywords and the descriptions that you give me as part of a questionnaire that you get and add those to your website for each individual page of your website and then an overall description so that you have all of the basics in place. And that way, if you want to leave it the way that it is, you can. Everything is filled out. You've got it all there. But if you would rather work with somebody down the road to help you with SEO strategy, you can do that as well and just take it up to the next level. I also include a tutorial library. So I have a library full of pre-recorded videos on how to do just about everything in both Squarespace and Showit. And I have recorded these so that all of my clients have access to them all the time. They just log in, they can watch the videos, they can see how to do things on their own. Because I really want to empower you to be able to be in control of your website yourself. And along that vein, I also include custom tutorial videos. For some websites, we're adding a lot of custom code or we're doing tweaks that are a little bit different. And so I will record custom videos that show you how to do certain things on your specific website that might not be the same on everybody else's. That way, you know how to take those things and make changes or duplicate a page or continue adding to your website in whatever way that you need. Also included is post-launch support. So in the strategic design roadmap process, there is a whole month of post-launch support that's included where we're looking at your analytics, we're making sure your website works, and then we come back together and make any changes that need to be made, and all of that is included. So we're sitting back and letting things do their thing for about a month, and then we are making changes both to the design and to the way the analytics are set up so that your website is really working for you and supporting your business. I also will help you set up Google Analytics and Google Search Console if you haven't done that already for your website. Those do require a little bit of help from my clients because I want it to be connected to their Google accounts instead of just mine, but I will set it up for you, make sure it's all connected, make sure it's submitted to the Search Console so that you're getting all of the analytics that you need and so that Google is seeing your website in the best way possible so that you show up in their search results. That's one that a lot of people forget. So we all know that analytics are important. We've probably figured out how to connect them. It's pretty simple, but Search Console is a little bit different and people forget about it, but that is how you tell Google where things are on your website. You can make sure that they're updating things every once in a while. So I help with that because it's an easy thing for me to do to really help you get seen in search results. Of course, I include testing before and after launch to make sure all your links are working, all the buttons are working, everything that somebody wants to submit is working correctly. We do this both before and after launch because sometimes things get a little funky when your website goes live. So we test it beforehand to make sure that everything should be working. And then right after you launch and everything is live, I test it again to make sure that it's still working correctly. This is really important, and it's something that my clients forget about, but I think that this is a huge deal because if somebody comes to your website and they click on something and it doesn't take them to the right page, or they submit a form and it doesn't actually come to your email, that's a problem. You're not serving them in the best way possible, and so part of my job is to make sure that all of the pretty design that I've created for you is actually working. I can also help with importing blog content. So some of my clients have been blogging on WordPress or Wix or somewhere else, and they need to import that blog content into their new website. And so I will help get all of that set up and get that import done for them. While I don't go through and make sure all of the formatting is correct, I do show you how to do that. So if we're importing 500 blog posts, I don't have time as a designer to go through and make sure all of the layouts of those are just perfect. That's something that I have my clients handle through a VA or in their spare time. But I do make sure that it's actually all on your website and that you are showing all of that content. And as you can see, these are in no particular order. They don't follow the steps of the process. But another thing that I include are mock-ups. So we've talked about mock-ups before, and this is how I show you what a design is going to look like. When I design for websites, we start with a basic layout, and then I actually do a mock-up on Squarespace so that you can get in there and play with the design, make sure that the buttons functions are the way that you want, and see it all live action, how it's actually going to look before we finalize everything. But the other thing that I'll do for mock-ups, and I end up doing this a lot for just certain parts of a website, is give you options. For a lot of my clients, they have an idea of how they want something to work, but until they see it in person, they're not quite sure that it's what they are expecting. And so I, as a designer, will go through and give you a couple of options in different cases where you can choose the one that you think is going to work best. The reason that I do this is because sometimes the vision you have in your head doesn't come out when we're talking about it on paper. And so I do this for things like laying out a portfolio or testimonials, different ways that you're just showing up in your content that you're still getting the same information out there, but it just looks a little bit different. And I want you to have some options as far as how that works. I also have PDF guides for my clients that help them with SEO and launching their website, all kinds of things that they can keep for future reference, and those are included as well. Part of what it takes to run a successful online business is having the right tools for the job. I'm sharing a list of all of the tools I use in my business in my toolbox. And you can find that at lemonandthesea.com/my-toolbox to download it now. These include tools that I use for podcasting, designing, running my business, and other things. So you can get a real inside look at everything that I use every day in order to serve my clients well and grow my business. Again, you can find that at lemonandthesea.com/my-toolbox. Another thing that I will help with, and this is one I get a lot of questions about, is connecting your domain and your email address. So many times we have a domain, which is our URL, with somebody else, and we need to connect that to our Squarespace website. And then I can help with getting your current website host so that you're not being charged double, so that everything is connected the right way with Squarespace, that your email is working, your URL is working, and you're not having to pay more money than you need to because it's really charging you in two different places. And of course, I include mobile design. So a lot of people still ask me this question, which I think is funny because mobile design is such an important part of the way people use websites anymore. It's mandatory to have a mobile-friendly website that looks really good. And I include that in my design as well. So on Squarespace, this is done automatically, but I go through and I check what it looks like, and I'll make tweaks for mobile-specific design if I need to. On Show It, we do this completely by hand, so it can look any way that we want it to. Part of working with a designer is that you get custom code that makes your website more than just a template. So I go in to almost every design that I have and add some customization, some CSS, whether it's just for a particular page or for the whole website, to give you a little bit more oomph. For some of my clients, this means changing what the buttons look like so that it's a really cool way to stand out instead of just a rectangular button. For some people, it is making sure that their mobile design looks really good or adding a different way to set up the template. Whatever it is, I can help with that. And I really love doing the customization because it takes your website to the next level. I can also help with creating and tweaking small graphics. So I no longer do graphic design or logos, and I don't really do icon design, but as a designer, I know that sometimes you just need a couple of small things, or you already have a graphic and it's just not the right color. I am totally willing to help my clients with those things because it's a lot easier to have one person working on it than have to go back to somebody else to get those things and wait on them. So as long as it's not taking up too much of my time and it's not too complicated where I'm not really going to be the best person serving you, I can help with those small graphic changes that you need for your website. I also help with creating a mood board and a color palette if somebody doesn't already have one. Some people might think that this should be handled in brand design, but it's not always. So I like to do it here just in case somebody doesn't have one already, because having a color palette in place is going to help me as I design your website and help you as you choose your images to make sure that you've got a consistent look and feel for the design. And having this information helps me know what it is you want to be communicating with your clients. Your website does need to resonate with those people that you want to work with. And so if I can see that visually, it helps me communicate that through the design and the look and style that we're going for. Along with that, I help with choosing fonts if you don't already have them picked out. So Squarespace has a whole library of fonts, and I will help figure out which ones are going to work for you and set those up so that they're really easy to use. As a strategic website design roadmap client, you also have access to the plugins that I have available. So some plugins I will buy licenses for that I can use multiple times. If I have one already, I will use it on your website if needed. If I don't have it purchased already, then I do charge extra for those to cover the cost. But that way you can get some extras on your website that I can't necessarily code in myself, but we have the ability to purchase those and set those up and get them working so that you can do even more cool stuff. I also help with connecting to your email newsletter provider. So whether you have MailChimp or ConvertKit or somebody else, I get that set up for you. But I don't help with setting up your newsletter. So I'm the one on the website side of things, making sure it's connecting, going to the right place, adding to the right list. But I'm not the one who's creating your website templates for you and making sure that everybody's getting the right emails. Also included, and I've mentioned this in a lot of different episodes, are video or phone calls to discuss the design, make changes in real time, and answer any other questions you might have. So as a business owner, I get a lot of questions about how to run a business, the best decisions for things, the software that I use, and I'm happy to answer those types of questions for my clients, either on the phone to just kind of chat about things to see what would work best for them, or in email, because I want to share all of the knowledge that I have gained over the past years of being in business, and I want to help you to be able to really fast forward through some of these things that I have had to deal with in real time. And of course, these calls are really helpful for discussing the design and making changes and just getting things done a whole lot faster because we're not emailing back and forth and waiting for responses. Instead, we're on a phone call. We can bang it out really quickly because we're just chatting in real time. And these are usually very casual calls. So I'm not dressing up and putting on a ton of makeup or going to some special location. Really what we're trying to do is get to the heart of your design and your brand so that we can communicate that. And that's a whole lot more important than showing up and trying to impress each other because we've already been working together. We already know each other. What we need to do is get down to business. And the final thing I have for this, and I'm sure there are more, is that I will help my clients with outlines or guides for the page content they need so that they can write their copy. The way that this works is when I have something like an about page or a home page and I'm still in the mock-up phase, I don't need your website copy from you right away, but I'll lay things out in blocks that say, we need a headline here, we have 3 options here, we have your blog posts here, and then you can take that and create the content for your website from that because you kind of know what you need and what you don't need to include on your website. And then once I get your copy, we'll plug it in, we'll make tweaks and changes as we need to based on what you're trying to say to people. But I want to help you to get all of the stuff that you need and make it easy for you to kind of fill in the blanks. So you're not spending so much time trying to figure out what this is, what you need to include, and delaying the launch of your website. Okay, that was a lot of stuff. I know it was. It's a long list of things that I include, but I wanted to go over them and kind of discuss what that means for you as a website design client. These are things that you might want to ask a designer about just so you're aware whether or not they're included with your project. When it comes to website customization, what I include depends on the type of project we're doing because I'm quoting somebody based on exactly what they need, whether it's design tweaks or helping them set up SEO or getting their newsletter connected, whatever it is that we're doing, that is going to determine what's included. But there are some things that are always included for no extra charge. And we've talked about these before, so I'm not going to explain them, but I'm going to list them here just so that you are aware of the types of things you might have included when you get a quote of this type. So for these types of projects, I still help with resizing of images. My clients still get the access to the tutorial library and custom tutorial videos if needed. I have some post-launch support that I offer, so even after our changes go live, if they have questions or need small tweaks made, I can do that. It depends on what it is that we're doing, how long that lasts, but for the couple of days afterwards, I'm still available by email if they need more help. I also help set up Google Analytics if it's not already done. I test to make sure that everything is working, all the links are working correctly. I offer mock-ups for the different design options. This is especially important for customization clients because a lot of times they're not sure exactly how they want things to work, and so I show different options for them. I help with the mobile design, of course. We're still designing for that. I will add custom code. This is a lot of what I do for customization anyway, but you have access to all of the custom code that I have, or I'll help write something completely new for you so that your website is more than just a template and it can do what it needs to. I will also help with creating and tweaking small graphics as needed, and then we have the video and phone calls so that we can make those design changes in real time and just cut down on the emails back and forth. The other thing that I offer here that I don't offer for strategic roadmap clients because of the type of process we're going through is a list of suggestions for ways that you can improve your current website design that we're not already working on. So a lot of my clients will come to me with a website that's mostly done and they just need a little help, or they have everything and they want help getting it all up on the Squarespace platform and live, but I will go through and do an audit of their website to just offer other suggestions from my expertise, and then they can decide if they want to move forward with those or not, so we add them to the project or we don't. It depends on the client, but I want to always offer those types of suggestions so that you're getting that expertise from a designer who has been there and who has done this and who knows what's available and what is an option on this platform, so that you can take a look at those suggestions and see what's going to work for you and what isn't. The last thing I wanted to talk about is why I think it's important to include all of these things that I do. And really the thing here is that it comes back to serving my clients well. I don't want my clients to feel like their designer is only helping them with a website and everything else falls on them. As a designer, I have expertise, I have experience in these platforms that other people don't. And so if I can use my knowledge and a little bit of my time to better serve my clients by helping them with these small things or big things, I think that's part of my job. It's really part of what I offer to people is to help them to take their website to the next level and really support them along the way. I don't want to just do what I have been hired to do. I want to go above and beyond so that you get the best experience possible, and so that I can look back on my projects that I help with and be proud of what I've done, knowing that I gave it my best effort, that I've done as much as I possibly can, and I can let you run with this website to grow your business. I don't really have any action steps for you guys today. This doesn't seem like as actionable of an episode, but I would really love it if you would leave a rating or a review on iTunes. That's the best way to support the show and help other people find it so that they can listen. You can also share it on Instagram and tag @LemonandTheSea and @ProcessToProfitability and let people know what we're talking about here, about the guests and the different episodes, so that they can find some support and some help from the different tools and systems and things we're talking about. Thanks for listening to Process to Profitability. Please take a minute to leave an honest review in iTunes so that I can help more small business owners and creative entrepreneurs find the show.